Hey, what's up, good people? You probably recognize our friend Heather sitting here. She and I have been talking about doing a show together or an episode or a thing where we're both hanging out and talking for, I don't know, a while. And we're excited that we're actually going to bring something to you. It's going to be interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about grief, right? And the stages of it and how people are working through it right now. And then really have some upbeat next step. What can you do to get past it and get through it and keep doing what you need to do? So, hi, Terry Bean.
Hi,
Heather, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. You look like a ray of sunshine today. You really do. Super bright and effervescent, and I love it. Are you feeling
Thank you.
okay?
I am doing well considering the circumstances. How are you?
I'm doing fine, actually. We were talking about it earlier. Maybe I'm just in straight denial, but I've got enough good stuff to do and keep my mind focused that I'm just going to keep building through this because I think ultimately that's what we all need to do. There's great opportunity right now to slow
Mhm.
down and take some different stuff in. So I'm hopeful that most of us that are watching are doing something along those lines that feeds us. And so we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
What's up with you? What do you got going on?
I'm still coaching my clients, my career coaching clients, and a lot of life coaching right now too is happening with my clients, of course, because of the anxiety that everyone is feeling right now. And a little bit more free time, really, than I had expected a few weeks ago before all this hit. So I'm trying to take the time to do things that I've always wanted to do, and you know very well that shooting the video is one of them. I'm very camera shy, so this is a big step for me, and I appreciate you kind of dragging me into this.
I love it. I love being the catalyst for stuff like this. It's kind of fun. So I'm excited about what we're talking about, even though it's going to be a tough topic, but I think it's going to help some people. So
Yeah.
I know you've been teaching people for years, and there was a big chunk of your career that was with career services and with the state of Michigan, right? When people would lose their job, they would come to you. So you've been dealing with others' grief for a long time. So
Right.
let's start with what that looks like and where it kind of begins at home.
Yeah. Well, the grief process. Excuse my dog.
That's awesome. Work from home, baby.
Right? Yeah, we all know what this is like now. The grief process, you and I were talking about, denial, anger, the bargaining, depression, of course, and acceptance. That hits people different ways and not always in that order. Sometimes that starts off with depression and then it comes back around to denial. I mean, I think a lot of us are having a hard time really wrapping our head around what this really is, and so sometimes pretending it's not happening can can help, but at a certain point we have to see the reality, right?
I totally agree with that. Um, I think it's probably ill-advised to pretend it's not happening. That's
Mhm.
ridiculous. It's happening. It's clear.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
for real, right? We know
Right.
that regardless of what anybody says, it's not a hoax. This is going on. Um, I think we can is hopefully separate ourselves and while yes it's happening, I'm going to act as if it's not happening to me, right? It's once we internalize things that they become a little different. I always talked about the idea when people ask about, hey, will you fund this for cancer, do this for like, I don't deal with cancer because I don't like the way people think about it, talk about it, and interact with it, right? Like when I say I've got cancer, no, you don't. Cancer's got you, and then you can beat the hell out of it if you choose to, right? But once you internalize it, it becomes an issue. So it's really there's so much mindset that we need
Mhm.
to be mindful of at this time.
And I feel like a lot of us are grieving right now. I know that I was talking to a client of mine this morning, and she said to go ahead and use this on the video, but she just feels like her options have all been taken away from her, and she's lost her autonomy, and she's lost her ability to make decisions, and she feels like she's lost her freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, the grief it's been different. I've been really enjoying like seeing people and going out and doing things with people who are really important to me the last few months, and now to have them all of a sudden taken away, it feels like. So we've been doing things like Zoom parties, and I'm hoping this DJ is going to do an 80s party for everybody on all of our Facebook friends, and things like that. But even after the Zoom party, I cried myself to sleep that night, because I hadn't seen these girlfriends in so long, and it made me realize how much I've missed out by saying, well, I'm really busy, I'm too busy. So I think for me, the grief is twofold. It's regret. And then it's also, acknowledging now that, and accepting, right? Accepting that we just can't see each other right now. And I think that also is moving me into appreciation, for people that I really care about a lot more than I may have otherwise, because if you can't be together, it makes you realize how much who you really miss,
100%, right? It really, the absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of deal. And
Yeah.
anytime something's taken away from us, we want it more, right? I observe that in my dogs all the stinking time. If anyone's got more than one kid, they know it. It's the same game, right? So it is interesting. And with your client talking about that freedom being taken away, the
Mm-hmm.
one thing I've noticed is just how more cognizant I am of the hand washing thing, the
Oh
face
yeah.
touching thing. This Zoom deal is driving me nuts because I see how often I touch my mug, man. I was chatting with a neighbor in the yard, and I was 10, 12 feet away the whole time. We were social distance. But it was windy, right?
Nah,
And I was like,
I know.
oh my
And now
God, what
this,
germs?
yeah, well, things we never would have thought about. Well, I
Nope.
mean, it has literally never crossed my mind. If somebody has the flu and the wind blows, like it just was never something to. And now we are thinking about all of these things. I think it's kind of interesting too, because being in the field I'm in, I'm kind of watching and listening, excuse me, to my clients, and I think that we're going to see some new industries come out of this. I think
100%.
that we are going to start being more like other countries, more responsible. So if I have a cold and I need to run up to the store, I have a feeling we're going to see, like I would have a mask and gloves on because I don't want to give it to somebody else. I think that we're going to see some shifts in how we handle things in general. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this, once we're through.
I think that whole concierge market, right?
Oh
It
yeah,
used to
yeah.
be like Girl Friday, which was kind of a secretary thing, but it would take care of stuff. I think
Hmm.
that's going to be a whole new opportunity, Lyft or Uber, but for everything. You can have 27 customers that just pay you a monthly fee to do whatever. Go get my dry cleaning. Okay, great. Whatever the case may be.
You know
That's
what?
going to become an interesting piece.
It's also made me think, like, when we really think about the people who are most important right now in the workforce, it's not, and forgive me to all my CEO clients because I love you, but it's not them. It's our supermarket clerks and people at Rite Aid. It's those folks that the restaurants, the like people, the delivery people that are taking food from the restaurant to us. Like, it's not who we thought or what society placed value on. It's especially all of our medical workers. I mean, what they're going through right now is unbelievable. Um, and they keep going back,
Keep going back, right? I was reading an article in this Michigan Kindness Pandemic group that I know you're a part of, about people loaning RVs to medical professionals because these folks can't go back home. A good friend of mine, Drew Maltese, his wife is a nurse, and they have a cottage up in the Thumb area, And she's like, you take the boys and get out of here. You don't get to stay home anymore. You're gone. You move up there, right? Because she knows that every day she's being infected more and more. And it's scary.
Multiple times, right?
Scary.
Like what they and just, and it's upsetting to think that we were so ill prepared, that our hospitals have mask shortages, and our first responders. I mean, it's going to be a big, huge lesson for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, you think about supply chain and just-in-time inventory and how business is done. It makes total sense that we would be that ill-prepared because you just didn't see that coming. But simultaneously, you hear Fauci talk about the idea, pardon me, Dr. Fauci, talking
Mhm.
about the idea that if there was one thing that scared him in his line of work, it was a virus that is airborne that attacks your respiratory system, right? Hey, look at us, 3 for 3.
Mhm.
So, it's an odd thing to know that there are that many people thinking ahead about this and simultaneously to have it take us this far off guard. But it did, and this is where we are. And
Right.
so the new normal is, me sitting here in my bed delivering a webinar to my clients this morning
I saw
because
that.
that's what I'm doing now. Okay, thank God I have clients. I'm super grateful for that. But
Yeah, me too.
I mean, that's not going to be real 6 weeks from now. If this doesn't change, no begrudging them, of course that's not, it's the way it is. So it's going to be a
Right.
weird, wild time. And so it's a great opportunity to reset and get back to what's important, making time for people that really are your priority, folks you love. Talk to us about, you have a little game night coming up, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm in a group of moms and stepmoms, and hi ladies, you know who you are, and we are going to be doing Cards Against Humanity through Zoom tonight. It's going to be so funny. I can't wait to see their faces. And yeah, I think that's really important. I think what's coming out for me and for a lot of my clients, and I know we've talked about this, is just the fact that people who you already cared about, you really want to keep reaching out to them, and stay close and become closer. But also what's been kind of interesting, and I don't know if you've been experiencing this, I'd imagine you are, um, new people, people who are already in my network, but just people that we just didn't talk all that much, have been reaching out and Facebook messaging and things like that. And I think that that's really great. Just you're making kind of new friends or better friends, with people, kind of deepening connections, like what you are doing with your group.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And it's so important, right? Because the training I gave today was about being the shit on social media, right? And so shit was an acronym for storytelling or story selling, humor, inspiration, and truth, right? If
Mhm.
you look at the type of stuff that you should post on social media, that four
I like it.
really
Mhm.
kind of sums it up for me.
Yep.
um factual would have been better, but shift not nearly as funny as, so truth it is. But it's one of those things where inspiration
Yeah.
is so
Yep.
absolutely critical right now, and the idea of that loving kindness piece is so powerful, and it attracts people, you know aside from the stats on a whiteboard of how many people are recovering and getting off of this stuff, which was phenomenal post.
Yeah.
One of the bigger ones was the story of the CEO who cut his salary down to $10,000 a year to keep his people going.
Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, this is where you really start to see who the real helpers are. And and we all play a different role. Like I've been just trying to keep people's spirits up, keep them talking, keep them connecting, just knowing, being a little bit funny, and showing some humor and things like that. But, there are so many musicians in my network are doing like private concerts, for people from their living room. And really like, it's fascinating to see how people show up. So if they're helping financially, if they're sewing masks, if they're, just trying to create a space like the group where people can just support each other with positivity and good ideas. It's really interesting to me to see what this pandemic has done. We all know the negatives, but the positives that are coming out of it too.
I started a post, and I've said it a couple times. I got to finish it, but how social distancing will bring us closer together, right?
Yeah.
And it really truly will. And the sad thing is, or the reality is, that we, at least in this country, seem to need this reminder every 8 to 12 years, right? We got
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
we got handed to us in 2001, and for a solid year and a half, we were a tight knit community.
Yeah. Yeah.
2000, late 2008, 2009, wiped everything out. And
That's when we met. That's when
yeah,
we met on
absolutely.
Twitter.
On the Twitters, yay,
On
tweets, on the
Twitter.
Twitters. Um, that wiped everything out, but gave us a
Yeah.
total reset in terms of our mindset and prioritization and family and game night and all that good stuff. And
Mhm.
here we are, a decade later, we're going through the same thing. So I'm guessing we just have really bad memories or slow learners. I haven't decided. One of the two. But we need the reminder.
Yeah, and what are our real priorities? As individuals and as a country, and when you're looking at this is a worldwide pandemic, right? This is almost unprecedented, at least in most of our lifetimes. We need each other, humanity. We need each other.
It's Charlie Wahlberg and I were a hive mind for a long period of time.
I know. Yeah.
So I don't know where all the words from what's on the website came from, but if you read the Motor City Connect site written back in '08, it says better together, right?
Yeah.
Those two words linked together. And I've seen that hashtag forever since then. But it's such a true statement. When I did the TED Talk back in 2009, the 6 degrees of connectedness, it was kind of based around the idea that how dumb it is that we use the phrase 6 degrees of separation to show just how connected we are, right?
Right.
That's how backwards our thinking is around this topic.
Mhm.
We are significantly interconnected in ways that I think we're going to go deep enough to actually realize this time. And again, I just hope it sticks, right? I hope the memory kicks in. We don't have to relive something worse than this.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right about, the recession and 9/11 and all of that. Um, this, I think, is a little bit different because the fear is health, the fear is for your family members or the people that you love, the fear is that there's not going to be enough supplies or treatment, the fear is financial too. This is like, so many of us, all of us, all of a sudden are completely affected by this. And so there's all of these things to be afraid of right now. And I think I don't know, I feel like this might be something that does stick a little bit more than what we've been through in the past.
Well, and you think about it, right? That's how reminders have to get, right? The first time it kind of taps you on the shoulder. The
Hmm.
second time it shakes you a little bit by the chest. The third time it slaps you across the cheek a little bit. The next
Yeah.
time it kicks you square in the ass, and then the final time it throws you down the steps, right? And I don't. Again, I'm waxing philosophically. I have no uh, further knowledge on most of this than anybody, right? But it's like universal wisdom kind of, this is how that progresses and why it works that way. But you're right, this is definitely devastating across multiple areas, and getting worse. And that's the part that concerns me a little bit. But I think if we, again, stay strong, stay together, stay
Mhm.
helpful, stay hopeful, and work toward what can we do and what can we control. My client Phil Klein always says, control the controllables, right? That's
Mhm.
all you can really worry about without driving yourself nuts.
Right. And I mean, I think, we have to be resilient now. And we can't, there's a lot of people are experiencing touch deprivation, right? Like we're used to hug, like for me, I'm a big hugger, and so used to hugging my friends, and I know you're like that too. So, now I can hug Riley, I can hug my daughter, but like I can't, and my dog, I can't get out there and see, people. And I know a lot of my clients have been talking about that too, that piece, is an unexpected sort of depressing side effect, so we have to figure out other ways, other things that we can do to, while this is going on, to stay motivated. And how, and I know you and I were talking about this too, how are we going to use this time? Like I'm all for Netflix, watch Ozark, watch the whole season 3, watch whatever you need to do, like do what you have to do to get through the depression part, but then what's
Create.
next?
It's
Yeah.
create, right? Or learn something. I know you're learning
Yeah.
something.
I'm learning Spanish again. Yeah, I'm using Babbel and bringing all that Spanish back that I had in high school. So,
That's
and
awesome.
I can't expect my clients to do what I'm not doing. So I've made a commitment to start my own YouTube channel, which, as we said, I'm scared about, but I think it's important to, if you can do things to help people, then you need to just do it. Whatever that looks like for people. That could those there are so many different things, but I just feel like, we are always saying, I'm too busy, or I'll do that next month because I've got so much going on at work, or I've got so much going on between the kids and work, or whatever your situation is. And now most of us have all this time. So what's going to come out of that time?
I couldn't agree more. I've been using the line, it's okay to Netflix and sleep, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
probably need to figure out what you want to be when this gets done,
Mhm.
because the world shifted, right? And I think we know that, but if you don't know that, we're a whole different place after this, right? When we walk out of here. So if you're not making moves to figure out who you're going to be, who you're going to serve, and what work you're going to
Yes.
do when that changes, please start. Right now is a great time to find your voice, to find out who you are. Go deep, do that work, and we can have that conversation too.
Yeah, I love how you said who you serve. I know that both of us are fans of servant leadership, right? So who can you serve? I know a lot of times, at least in the world before this, fear stops a lot of people, from moving forward. And now, like you said, we're in a different world. So how do you serve other people? How can you add value to other people's lives? It's not about, a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm worried about, putting myself out there and looking like I'm marketing myself. And I always tell my clients, what I want you to think about is what is the value that you're going to add? Who needs your help? That's why you're putting things out there. It's about who you can help, and not the other way around.
I'm not going to quote it directly, but I was trying to talk a friend into doing some video recently, and they were saying that they didn't really like it and didn't want to be on video. And I was like, listen, you just need to believe that the value you're going to provide will bring you more comfort than the pain you're going to experience while being on video.
Right. Yeah, I love that. That's so true.
Said that to you.
I kind of remember that.
I wrote it, so it probably felt different than me looking at you. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it is, right? So if you understand who you're serving, what you're meant to do, you can kind of figure it out. So, you recently, and by recently I mean last 18 months or 2 years, right? When did you leave the state job, Michigan Works?
Our office was closed down in officially in June of, yeah, almost 2 years, June of 2018.
Okay, so it's right in between there. That's like about what I
Yeah.
would have pegged it. And do you think you would have started your own business had that not happened?
So, I've always had career savvy coaching. I think I started it in 2010,
Okay.
but it was part time, and I only took a few clients and a month. But to your point, I I think it was a catalyst
Right. And have you
because
thought about going back to work for somebody else since?
no, I love it. I love it. I am so lucky. I have the best, most wonderful clients. Honestly, you guys are the best, and gals. I love them so much. But they are all over the country. I have some in Canada, and I've had a few calls come in from like France and things like that. It's really crazy. And I never would have thought that I would know so many amazing people. Another thing that I'm going to do, I've been talking about, but I'm now going to do it for sure, is going to start my own Facebook group for my prior and current clients only,
Smart.
so that they can help one another because they're all in different phases of the transition. So those of them that are hiring will have the opportunity to meet those who are looking, and then also leadership stuff, because I do leadership coaching and just being there to help each other. And I feel like they're all connected to me. And I think they're all wonderful, so they should be connected to each other too, but it was a risk, it was scary. I'm like, what if it doesn't work out? And then I'm like, what if it does? And I can't imagine not doing this now, and I know you're a big entrepreneur guy, I mean, you've experienced that, I think, in the past, right? Yeah.
Big time, right? And this is just another ride down. And
Hmm.
at some point, we will ride back up, and it's just part of it. That's the experience, that's the journey. It's tiring sometimes, but it's so flippin' rewarding that,
Hmm.
it's what are you gonna do? Go sit in a desk job? Nah, I'm cool. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there are other people, who completely thrive, in having, having jobs that they go to. But one thing that I think is interesting is a lot of these companies and organizations that were like refusing to allow remote work. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, apparently I can trust my employees. Apparently, they can schedule their own days and get the work done. And I feel like we're going to see another shift that way too.
I'm doing a work from home wisdom presentation
Oh yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah, and then I'm doing the practice one tomorrow. And I've never done a practice presentation before, but I figure it's information people need, so I'll invite some folks to come check it out. And then I'm doing it for Flint Chamber, which is going to be kind of cool next week. But it's one of those things where I don't want to be in the office furniture business coming out of this. I don't want to
Hmm.
be a commercial real estate guy that's dealing with office space coming out of this. Because to your point, yeah, people can handle it, right? If you're
Right.
hiring adults, treat them like such.
Oh my gosh. Will you want to do a whole series on that? Yes, 100%.
I would love that.
You have to, I mean, I think what's really important for if you're in a supervisory or role, or you're a manager, or leader, I'm always going toward the leaders. That's what I think we should be doing. And in fact, you and I were talking about this as well. I think in that post on LinkedIn, but the empathy factor, that's what a real leader has. And they support their staff and they trust the expertise of the people on their own team. And in my view, the best way to get the most out of people is to say, here's the goal, get there however you need to get there, and I'm here when you need my support.
100%. If I got to tell you how to do it, unless you're brand new, right?
Right. Oh, for sure.
If you don't know how to do your job, not talking about that, right? But
Mhm.
if I hired you and trust you to do a job, I need to get out of the way, or
Yeah,
I need to get obstacles out of your way.
that's
Like
right.
those are my two roles in that scenario. So I'm with you.
Have you ever heard of the first follower?
Sure. That's a TED talk.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen? There's a great video out there about the guy, the dancing guy they call
Yeah,
him.
100%.
Um, but I think that that's the other thing too. One of my clients, she told me to tell this story. I have to still post it, but she has been promoted twice since she started working with me, and her salary is gone up by 50 grand during that time. And she now has a team of 11 people, and she's amazing leader. And so I'm doing leadership coaching with her right now. But her whole philosophy is, what are you great at? Because that's what I want you to do. And the things that you aren't great at, this person's great at, so we'll let them do that. And I'm like, oh, I love that. That's exactly what we need to be seeing. Instead of focusing on improving someone's weakness, how about let them be great at where they are, right?
The amount of effort it takes to improve weakness versus excel in your greatness, it's so counterintuitive that shore up weaknesses was ever a suggestion, right? It's just so dumb. Listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't be somewhat well-rounded, right? But I'm saying if you're gonna spend time and energy and effort fixing something, right? Double down on where you're already good. The
Yeah,
results will be so much better. Why would you move from, hey, I'm not good at this to I'm average at this when you could go, I'm great at this and now I'm even better? It's
right,
just dumb.
right.
Just
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I think we found where we're going to end up if we keep doing this,
yes, yes.
which is probably good because I don't want to sit and talk about grief and COVIDs, and I don't want to talk about that as a rule, right? I don't think that. I think understanding it's important. I think acknowledging it and accepting it is important, right? Being depressed about it or denying it is probably a reality too, but getting past it is what really needs to happen. And I just touched my face again. These damn Zoom calls and your face touching just drives me nuts. My face touching. I don't know about your face
I
touching.
have to, I have an itch, so I've been trying not
It's totally psychosomatic at this point. Well, I what do you have for parting words, Heather?
um, parting words, I think, is just, I really think that people just need to hear, that you're loved, and you're being thought about, and that you're important and you're valuable. And if you are depressed right now, that's okay, but talk about it. Tell people.
That's right. Tell people. I love that, right? If you need help, ask for help.
Uh,
Right? If it's something that we can do, listen, people are wired to help, especially in times like this. It's amazing the outpouring of kindness and support that's going on, and I love, love, love seeing it. And so I'm excited about where we are. Yeah, don't sit there and suffer in silence.
right.
That's not acceptable, right? Just ask, right? And
Because
if you don't know who to ask me. I'll help.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll help too. And with Mr. Rogers, and I think we've discussed this, right? Like, look for the helpers.
Like for the helpers.
The helpers need to help. That's what they need to do. So please know, like, if you are reaching out to one of those helpers, you're not
It's not a burden.
interrupting them. You're not pulling on them. They need to help. And if you need the help, then yeah, reach out and ask for it.
Be sure to ask the helpers if they need anything too, though, once in a while,
Yes.
because no one ever checks in on those guys.
You do.
I know. Like I'm next level helper monkey though. That's my world. It's my world. So it's good. All right, this has been fun. So I got to ask, what'd you think?
Yeah, this is great. I love it.
You seem totally comfortable, like you've been doing it forever. Felt
Oh, really?
natural. Yeah, totally.
Well, are we still recording right now?
100%.
Oh, okay.
Would that change your answer?
No, no, no. I was just going to say, I don't know if it's relevant, but maybe it is. The very first time I did anything like this was on a podcast, and actually on 96.3. And it was really fascinating to me how easy it was when you have someone you're talking to, you know, and when you're talking about something that you love, you're passionate about, with somebody that you trust, it's like, it's just conversation, you know, and if it's helpful to people, then that is wonderful. That's the goal, you know.
Perfect.
Kind of like the public speaking, right? Like if it's a topic that we know, we're like, I don't need that PowerPoint, you know what I mean? Like that's there as a touch point. But you know, when you're passionate about what you know, and you know, and I hope more people start doing this, like what we were talking about. Like how can you help somebody? How can you serve? You know, what information do you have that you can share? You know, and it would be wonderful, I think, for everyone, you know.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So if you like this, drop a comment or two, or throw a like sign or something, maybe a share, and let us know if you want to hear other topics, because I would do this again. I got time for this. I got tons of time for this.
Yeah, we definitely have time.
All right. Well, thanks for paying attention, y'all. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everybody.